Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into Heal Please Heal once again for another legendary pirate lesson.
Hold fast, tides are turning, flames roar, fires are burning, we'll all be returning if we sail together.
Today I wanted to cover another pirate legend and want to especially thank Dr. Quantum for this recommendation in the last video. Today's true pirate legend is Bartholomew Roberts, who was born on May 17, 1682, and was born as John Roberts. It's not clear why he changed his name, but many pirates did have aliases. He was also known as Blackheart, though many never really called him that during this time of piracy. Bartholomew was a Welsh pirate who had his hands in raiding over 400 ships between 1719 and 1722, and was considered one of the more successful pirates during the golden age of pirating, though Bartholomew never started as a pirate. In 1719, Bartholomew was a second mate to the slave ship called Princess under Captain Abraham Plump. In June of that year, the Princess was docked at a small port in Anamubu, off the Gold Coast, which is present-day Ghana. During that time, the Princess was captured by two pirate vessels, the Royal Rover and the Royal James, and was headed by the Welsh captain by the name of Howell Davis. Though fearing death, the pirates forced a crew to the Princess to join them. Howell would quickly learn that Bartholomew was exceptional at navigation and would take to consulting him on voyages. Howell would also confide in Bartholomew, sharing information in their common tongue of Welsh, keeping it hidden from the rest of the crew. Bartholomew would soon succumb to fully becoming a pirate. Even though he was hesitant at first, he saw the advantages to his new lifestyle. Weeks after his capture, Howell Davis would initiate a plan of action to take hostage the governor of the island of Principe. He would hoist a British flag off his man of war and was given permission to enter the harbor. Davis would invite the governor to lunch on his boat and send rowboats for him, but the governor requested his presence at the fort for some wine first. The Portuguese discovered that their visitors were in fact pirates and would ambush Davis on his way to the fort, shooting him dead. So, with this, a new captain was to be elected. Within 6 weeks of his capture, Bartholomew Roberts was elected captain by the crew. It's believed that his skills in navigation and outspoken personality were the driving force behind this. Bartholomew's first call of action was to lead the crew back to Principe to avenge the death of Captain Davis. They arrived under the shade of night and killed a large portion of the male population. The mission was much more successful as they stole all items of value on the island and soon afterwards captured two ships, the Dutch Guineaman and the British ship called the Experiment. This mission alone cemented the crew's loyalty to Bartholomew Roberts and believed that they had much to gain under his leadership. Between July 1719 and May 1720, Bartholomew Roberts' crew had sailed across the Atlantic and docked their ship on an uninhabited island of Ferdinando, where they spent about 9 weeks off the Brazilian coast. During that time, they would not see any ship and were about to leave, until they spotted a fleet of 42 Portuguese ships in the Todos os Santos Bay, waiting for two man-of-war ships to escort them to Lisbon. Roberts would commandeer one of these ships and had them identify the most valuable ship in the fleet, which was the Sagrada Familia. His crew would board and capture that ship. The Sagrada Familia was a vessel stacked with treasure containing 40,000 gold moidores and jewelry designed for the King of Portugal, which included a cross set with diamonds. Bartholomew's crew would head to Devil's Island off the coast of Guyana and spend their new fortune. After a few weeks, they spotted a brigantine in the distance, and Bartholomew would take 40 of his men on a sloop to pursue it, leaving Walter Kennedy in charge of the main ship, the Rover. After 8 days of chasing the brigantine, the crew returned to their ship only to find out that Walter Kennedy sailed off with the Rover with what remained of the loot. Bartholomew Roberts would rename the sloop the Fortune and agreed to new articles of laws, now known as the Pirate Code, which all members of the crew swore on the Bible to uphold. During this first few months in the Caribbean, Bartholomew's cruise was involved in a battle with two other pirate sloops, who dealt a large amount of damage to the Fortune. Bartholomew was forced to flee and made his way to Dominica to repair the ship. Along the way, 20 of his men would pass away due to the wounds they suffered. There were two sloops from Martinica out searching for the pirates, and Roberts swore vengeance against both inhabitants of Barbados and Martinica, to a point where he had a flag developed with him standing on two skulls marked ABH and AMH. ABH was a Barbadian's head, and AMH was a Martinican's head. During June 1720 and April 1721, Bartholomew Roberts' crew captured a number of ships around Cape Breton and the Newfoundland Banks. On June 21st, Roberts sailed with black flags to Trepassey and discovered 22 merchant ships and 150 fishing ships, which were abandoned by their fear-stricken captains and crew. Bartholomew's crew took over Trepassey without any resistance, but he was angered by the cowardice of the captains who fled their ships. During July, Roberts would capture 9 or 10 French ships and commandeer one of them, fitting her with 26 cannons and renaming her the Good Fortune. In September, the Good Fortune was careened and repaired on the island of Caracua, and renamed the Royal Fortune. In October of 1720, Roberts reportedly caught the governor of Martinique, who was sailing aboard a 52-gun French warship. The governor was promptly hanged at the yardarm of his own ship, which the pirates converted into the new Royal Fortune. By 1721, Bartholomew Roberts' depredation brought the seaborne trade to a standstill in the West Indies. The Royal Fortune and Good Fortune would set sail for West Africa, though by April 18th, Thomas Ansis, the commander of the Good Fortune, would leave Roberts during the night and continue to raid ships in the Caribbean. Royal Fortune continued towards Africa. By late April of 1727, Roberts was at the Cape Verde Islands, where they were forced to abandon Royal Fortune due to many leaky spots on the ship. They would transfer to another ship called the Sea King, which would later be renamed Royal Fortune. 2 French ships would give chase to Bartholomew Roberts' ship, but would later be captured by his crew, and both ships would be renamed. The 16-gun vessel was renamed Ranger, while the smaller 10-gun vessel was renamed Little Ranger and was used primarily as a store ship. During his time in West Africa, Bartholomew Roberts would capture several more ships and crew and would commandeer a frigate named Onslow, which would be renamed as the 4th Royal Fortune. On February 5, 1722, Captain Chalonier Oglier of the HMS Swallow came upon the pirate ships Royal Fortune, Ranger, and Little Ranger careening at Cape Lopez. Oglier would veer away from Roberts' ships, making the pirates think she was a fleeing merchant ship. It's rumored he did this on purpose. Ranger would depart in pursuit, commanded by James Skyrum, though once at a distance, Swallow would open her guns and open fire at Ranger. 10 pirates were killed and Skyrum's leg was shot off by the cannonball. Ranger would be captured by the HMS Swallow. On February 10, Swallow returned to Cape Lopez and found Royal Fortune still within its docks. At first, the pirates believed the ship to be Ranger returning, but the deserter from Swallow recognized the ship and warned Bartholomew Roberts, who at the time was dining with the captain of the newly caught ship, the Neptune. Bartholomew had an idea to sail past Swallow and appear as a simple merchant ship, and once past, they could escape. Though, due to the amount of drinking at the time and several pirates intoxicated, the helmsman failed to keep Royal Fortune on the right course and Swallow approached delivering a broadside attack. Captain Bartholomew Roberts was killed by grape shot, which struck him in the throat while he stood on deck. Following his death, the battle continued for 2 hours between both ships. The Royal Fortune's main mast collapsed on the deck. Only 3 pirates were killed that day, which included Bartholomew Roberts. A total of 272 men were captured by the Royal Navy, and Royal Fortune's devastation was brought to a halt. Prior to the capture of the Royal Fortune, Bartholomew Roberts was weighed down and thrown overboard by his crew. His request was to be buried at sea, and his body was never found. To the pirating world, many believed Bartholomew Roberts was invincible, and his death not only shocked the pirating world, but the Royal Navy as well. Captain Oglier was rewarded with a knighthood, the only British officer to be honored due to his actions against piracy, and would later become admiral. The battle proved to be a turning point in the war against piracy, and many consider the death of Roberts to mark the end of the golden age of piracy. A fictionalized Bartholomew Roberts was also utilized in a popular franchise, Assassin's Creed, in their 2013 title, Black Flag, where Roberts is reimagined as a sage, a human reincarnation of the precursor scientist Ada. I hope you guys enjoyed this little history lesson of Bartholomew Roberts, a captain who led several of his men to wealth, harboring a powerful 470 vessel fleet, and stealing thousands worth of treasure from the monarchy. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, I ask you all to please leave a like to the video and a sub to the channel. If you want to see more, make sure to hit that little bell and keep in the know when more historical videos comes out. Remember to also let me know in the comment section below if you want me to cover a specific true legend pirate or something about pirates in general. Thank you again to Dr. Quantum for this recommendation. I always love to learn about new pirates and what made them historical. To everyone watching, make sure to heal, please heal, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.